Hi everyone. So today I have the pleasure to speak with a visionary music composer and artist Peter Sterling, and we will talk about his unique gifts.
My whole house is filled with my glass everywhere. This is one of my masterpieces right here.
That's beautiful.
Isn't that pretty? I don't know if you can see the light. This has quartz crystals in it.
Wow, really? That's amazing.
Yes, quartz crystal pyramids and cut crystals in the center there.
It's like
so
a
it's
third.
Very unique.
It's like a eye in the center. It's like a third eye.
Exactly. Very much so. Yes.
Yeah.
So then I discovered a way to photograph my stained glass windows with a special kaleidoscopic effect, and that creates these images you see here. And then I print the images out and I mount them to a wooden artist panel. And then I do a special, very unique process on them. I coat them with quartz crystal powder and other gemstone powders like amethyst, citrine, green peridot, ruby, and different gem powders that I get. And so I call them crystal alchemy portals of light. Yeah, so this is my home we're in. This is where I create my music and my art here in Sedona. It's my own personal alchemy. It's my glass work, my art, and my music. They all come together. And they're all related to each other because they're both about geometry of light and geometry of sound.
Yeah.
So that's how I create my music. I always have, is to incorporate the higher harmonics of the heavenly worlds that has been revealed to me. I moved to Sedona in the late 80s, and then I came here to discover, my true purpose, my mission. So I retreated into the wilderness areas here. I acquired a Volkswagen van, and I lived in my car for 3 years. And I lived very simply on very little money, but it allowed me to practice my spiritual practices of yoga and meditation and fasting and walking on the land and just being very simple and going into meditation. So it's like for a period of time, I kind of detached myself from everyday concerns. And then I lived very simply, but it allowed me to meditate several times a day and practice yoga and do all the inner work that I needed to do because I was told that I was going to discover something. And the message was I just needed to go deep inside myself. And in order to do that, I had to immerse myself in the silence. And the silence I found in the canyons of Sedona was like nothing I had experienced before. And so the canyons of Sedona became like my sacred birthing place, where I would go by myself. I would hike by myself out in the wilderness, and I would sit and meditate and pray and walk on the land and listen to nature and just go into the silence and go deep into meditation. So it was through this deepening in the meditation and the silence of the canyons where my inner hearing opened up, and I began to hear the inner music that the mystics and the saints have spoken about. And I was aware of it, but all of a sudden I was having my own experience. So it was hearing the inner music, the celestial music, the most beautiful music that I had ever heard. I began to perceive it in my inner hearing, my inner ear, which I call my third ear. My third ear opened as I was focusing on opening my third eye so I could develop my clairvoyant skills. My clairaudience opened up, my ability to hear. But the first sounds that I heard was the singing of the angelic choirs. And then I was receiving messages to trust, surrender, and let go, and allow the music to take you on a journey. So it was by doing that and being out in the solitude of nature here in Sedona where I was able to leave my body. I was practicing, I guess you could say, like a form of astral projection. But basically, I was aligning my chakras and my energy where I was able to just project myself right out of my crown chakra and my third eye and then and out of my body, my non-local consciousness, my etheric body, my causal body, my astral body, whatever you want to call it, was able to disassociate from my physical body and go into another dimension. So as I was doing this, that's how I met the angels. And then they took me on all sorts of journeys. And I would do this over and over and over again for a long period of time. And I went on many journeys with the angels, and I write about them in my book, Hearing the Angels Sing. They showed me a lot of things about the higher realms where the angels live. And it was mind-blowing. It was life-changing. But that's really how it started. The sound emerged out of the silence. And I was able to cross over to the other side. I left my body and was on the other side. And that's where I met a group of angels that came to me. And they revealed to me that my work in this life, my mission, was to be a channel for the angels' music, for the higher celestial music, and play the harp here with me. And that was my mission, and to bring through special music at this time of the great planetary awakening and the dawning of the golden age of man that's been long prophesied to arrive, and we're standing on the threshold, so it seems. So the music plays an important part because music carries frequency, and one of our main goals right now is to raise our vibration as much as possible, to raise our frequency, because on a quantum level, there is an increase in the vibration is increasing within this plane of existence, within this planetary biosphere. Is going through a vibrational change. And these are cycles, that happen in great movements of time. And many of the ancients were able to chart these great cycles of time. So we're going through a vibrational change, and music can carry frequency, and music is powerful. Music can inspire revolution. It can inspire social change, and it can inspire the healing of humanity and the upliftment of humanity. So, and if music is composed in the right way, it can really be a transcendent vehicle for the soul, because you can listen to music and you can close your eyes, and music can take you on a journey. You can feel things with music. It can help you to feel certain emotions. It can open up your heart and soul. You can feel things through music, and also you can be transported.
And that's why it's important to have people like you bringing in this music, because I personally had wonderful experience with your music. Like, it takes me really somewhere else, and I listen to it a lot when I meditate or when I channel, and it just goes straight to the heart, and it just opens me up to this dimension. So it's really powerful, and I believe that it's very healing, and I'm sure many people have this experience with your music, that it heals them. Can you maybe talk more about this healing power of your music?
Yes, I've received like hundreds of letters from people all over the world that have shared their experiences while listening to my music, and it's true that. And this has been the way it was from the very beginning. When I first started playing, even when I'd only been playing for a couple of months, this was back in the early 90s, and I was just beginning, and I would play for people, and even then it had such a strong effect. And then when I made my first recording, my first album in 1994, and people started writing me about their experiences with it, so many people would say that they would have spontaneous healings from listening to my music. They would see angels. Angels would appear to them as they were listening. And then if they closed their eyes, they could go on these journeys with the music into incredible, beautiful worlds that would open up to them. Sometimes people would have contact with a deceased loved one on the other side, who all of a sudden would appear or communicate to them through my music. A lot of people would talk about how they would play my music and that would help them to channel. especially like one of the most famous people was Doreen Virtue, who wrote all the angel books. And I worked with her for several years in the 90s. And she told me the first time she listened to my music, she got a hold of my first CD, Harp Magic, and she started playing it, and it just opened her up, and she started channeling. A book came through really instantly, and she listened to the music over and over while she wrote her book Angel Therapy, which was the first book of channeled angel messages.
Wow.
And she said it was the music that opened her up to receive the book. She wrote it in 1 week, and so it really was quite a phenomenon. So, yeah, I get that a lot. There's a lot of artists that like to use my music because it increases creativity and opens them up to, enhance creativity and inspiring visions. And they love to paint to it. I know there's writers that write to it. And then a lot of healers use my music in their therapy sessions with their clients. Many report that when they're playing my music, they'll experience having angels come into the healing room, and they will see them around the client. And oftentimes, I've heard this before, sometimes people just kind of step away from their clients and they can perceive the angels are doing some special healing work, on the client, and because of the music. So there's been so many amazing stories. So that's always what has kept me inspired to continue on the journey that I've been on with the harp, even when I went through difficult times. And sometimes I would go through challenging times, as we all do. And I thought maybe I should give it up or this or that. And it's right then when I would receive a letter or a comment, somebody telling me, how much the music mean to them. And so that would always keep me continuing to create the music of the angels.
And how do you apply sacred geometry to your music? If it's even possible to explain it, or if it's...
Right, it is possible. So, like with my stained glass windows that I was showing you, I was not trained in sacred geometry, but I operate intuitively, and the geometry started coming through me as a young teenager, so it was very natural for me. So there's just a way that you create harmony, and like when you look at a piece of art, I'll show you. Let me show you. Let me turn this around.
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at, say, a stained glass window, one of my designs, there is a harmony, there's a structure and a symmetry to the design, right? You can see it's very equilateral.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
And you can just see there's a beautiful harmonizing effect because everything is so balanced and symmetrical. Mm-hmm. So this is based on like in Asia, the Tibetans make the mandalas, and in India, they make the yantras. So there's ancient traditions of designs and patterns like this that when you look at them, they can have an effect on your consciousness because of the lines are so balanced and in such harmony with each other. So that applies to music too. When I'm creating and composing my music, the angels have showed me how to structure it and build layer upon layer of the sounds where it's an ascending, it creates an ascending spiral, so to speak. So my designs are like, they have a spiral within them as well. So it's based on the golden mean, or the golden section. And so too, the music has within it, it has a spiraling, ascending spiral within it too. So you'll notice oftentimes when you listen to my compositions, my music compositions, they take you on a journey and they spiral you upward, up into a higher state.
Okay, yeah.
But it's through the sounds that when you listen, when you're listening to music like this, you open your third eye, you open your heart to it, and then open up your higher mind and your imagination. So it's by active listening like that's how you can go on these amazing journeys. So there is the relationship both in architectural design and structural design, like in my stained glass, you can create harmony and melody within, also with the art, because I'm not only am I using the pattern, but I'm also using the way that the colors relate to each other. So the colors of my designs are like different sounds in music, like you have piano and flute and violin and harp. Well, each one of those would have a color related to it, like red, green, yellow, and blue. Mm-hmm. And they all mix together and create a symphonic, orchestral, sonic experience listening. And also when you look at the art as well has an orchestral, symphonic quality to it, visually.
Yeah. So what are you working on now? What is your mission now?
Well, I just finished a new album on October 1st. It's called The Magic Kingdom. And it's an album that took me I worked on it for 1 year, but it was initially inspired by the total solar eclipse of the sun that happened here in America in 2017. And it was the path of totality of the eclipse swept across North America. And it was a big deal. A lot of festivals, a lot of people tuning into it as a cosmic event. And I was here in Sedona with a group of friends during the total eclipse. And we were at the Tibetan stupa here in Sedona saying some prayers and looking through my solar telescope, watching it with a group of people. And then after the totality was over, I came back home and went to my recording studio because I felt that I was receiving a transmission. And I had spent the day looking up into the sun and tuning into the solar energy. And it was almost like a portal opened up for me in the sun. And I'll show you this image as I go here. Mm-hmm. And it was like a portal opened up. Here's one of my paintings that relates to this. Uh-huh. Solar logo. So the sun opened up and I went through a portal in the sun. And there I saw this magical realm. And all of a sudden this music wanted to come through me. Mm. And so I went to my piano, my keyboard, and I sat for an hour. And the music just came through me. And I heard the name Magic Kingdom. Mm-hmm. It was like, this is the Magic Kingdom. And I saw this golden light. And the music had a childlike quality to it. I thought it was perhaps a children's record that I'd been thinking of recording for a while. But then it got deeper and changed. I sat for about an hour and recorded. And then over the next year, I orchestrated and arranged the pieces. And it had a life of its own. And so now it's out in the world. I'm currently doing a worldwide promotion on the music, on the radio. So, and it's getting great reviews. People are really enjoying it and having healings from it and crying with it. And it's really special. So I invite all of your listeners and your viewers here to come over to harpmagic.com and check it out, or go to Amazon and iTunes and have a listen, or SoundCloud even, and check it out. It's called Magic Kingdom. Music from ancient Prague, when it was a Celtic place in the old days before the modern city.